by saying, the United States of America is the one advanced nation on earth in which we do not have sufficient common sense gun safety laws, even in the face of repeated mass killings.
That's President Obama last week talking about the mass shooting at Umpqua Community College in Oregon. A gunman killed 9 people and wounded 9 more. The president travels to Oregon Friday to meet with families of the victims. And these killings are once again reigniting a debate over gun laws here in the U.S. That's the first topic in tonight's Point Counterpoint. We want to welcome Democrat Ed Espinoza, Executive Director of Progress Texas, and Republican strategist Matt Makoviak, President of Potomac Strategy Group. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks.
Matt, let's start with you. President Obama clearly frustrated with the number of mass shootings. We saw that in that press conference earlier this week. Yet critics kind of accusing him of using this tragedy to promote anti-gun agenda. How do you think the president should respond?
Yeah, I think he should respond less by focusing on the NRA and more by focusing on solutions that would actually impact mass shootings. You want to talk about background checks? In almost every case, mass shooters can get a gun through a background check because they've never committed a crime before. We know on 2 occasions, in Charleston and in Washington State, they should have not been able to get through a background check, but there was human error. We know that our instant criminal background check system is not fully funded, and it should be. We need to do something on mental health reform, and I think there's the potential to do bipartisan work on that. So we should come around, and circle back on these bipartisan solutions, not focus on trying to disarm legal gun owners who have a constitutional right to bear arms.
And any new gun control would face some very strong opposition and well-funded opposition at that. Is there a chance the measure could make it through Congress?
Well, not this Congress, which is why the Congress needs to change. But one of the reasons we focus on the NRA is because they are a major roadblock to the composition of this Congress. It was the NRA that got a 2003 Congress to stop tracking gun fatalities by the government, to stop gathering statistics on these things. Look, we understand that there's a gun culture and that people have a right to it. Everyone knows that. I think most people agree with that. But this isn't about stopping people who have guns that hunt deer. It's about stopping guns that hunt people. And so long as we have laws such as campus carry, where you can take guns onto a campus without really being stopped, this is going to be a problem. And the history shows that this has happened before, and it's going to happen again. We have to do something about it.
But isn't it possible, too? I mean, I think what we also see from some of these cases is that people are getting these guns sometimes no matter what, whether they've got the carry law in their pocket or not.
Sometimes, but not all the time. There are things we can do to make it safer. Background checks are part of it. People who have violent histories have maybe moratoriums or can't get guns at all. Or maybe we use smart technology where a stolen gun can't have a trigger pulled by somebody who's not the legal owner of that gun.
Matt, Hillary Clinton using this making tougher gun laws a key issue in her presidential campaign, and she says she'll actually use executive action as president to expand background check requirements. And I guess let's start with you on this one. Is this an issue that can help her nationally? Will this help her spearhead her campaign? Well,
I think background checks are very popular. If you look at the polls on this issue, it's one of the most popular gun control reforms that are out there. Also moratoriums or straight up bans on people who shouldn't have guns, such as people who are violent offenders or have had domestic violence histories. Those are also popular things, and those are things that she's talking about in her campaign. But one other thing to keep in mind with all this is that the mental illness claim that people make, where they say it's always somebody who's got mental illness. First of all, the only time we hear about mental illness policy is when there is a gun control issue, which is a classic pivot. But the other thing is that 5% of the people who commit these crimes are those who have been diagnosed with mental illness. This is not a mental illness issue. This is a gun issue.
Matt, response to that?
A gun is a tool. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. And honestly,
people with guns specifically.
But Ed, hang on. People with cars kill people too, okay? We have a constitutional right in this country. Why was the security guard unarmed? Maybe we should have had teachers who have concealed carry permits.
There was a guy on campus with a concealed carry permit, and he didn't want to be mistaken for a bad guy, smart, so he didn't do anything about it. And cars have airbags, seatbelts, and licenses. Well, I think there's lessons we can learn from all the things you just said.
Nothing Hillary proposed would have stopped this Oregon shooting. Nothing. Background checks already happened, and as I said before, there were 2 instances of mass shootings where the person shouldn't have passed the background check, but there was human error. She also wants to hold gun manufacturers liable. That's like holding Ford liable when you kill someone with your Ford car, vehicle. So a lot of what she's doing here, I think these are poll-tested ideas. She's trying to go on offense after being on defense over the email scandal for months. We'll see what happens. Look, going against the NRA, I don't think is a smart political strategy. Many legal people have a right, and a constitutional right, to bear arms to protect themselves. And I think Hillary is going too far beyond that. Look, she should work with Congress. She shouldn't do this through an executive order. That's unconstitutional.
Matt, Ed, gentlemen, thanks for joining us. The debate will continue. We appreciate it.
Thanks.